Yeah, they've both been tremendous. I thought they played great defense. They've made great decisions out of the pick and roll or pick and pop.
The world of women's basketball has been steadily rising for decades, but it has only just started to gain the recognition it deserves. Caitlin Clark, a player who has enthralled audiences throughout the United States and abroad, has played a crucial role in this shift. Caitlin Clark, known for her remarkable abilities, exciting performances, and unmistakable personality, has single-handedly revolutionized the WNBA's reputation, attracting fans who may otherwise have neglected women's sports.
Best college athlete, women's sports presented by Athleta is Caitlin Clark.
Until recently, the WNBA failed to attract the same amount of public attention as its male counterpart, the NBA. Despite having some of the world's most gifted athletes, the league's games were often overlooked, and attendance could have been better at best.
And I think we were down 2 points at halftime, but then we started the third quarter really strong, and I think that kind of set the tone for the second half, and we didn't really look back, and then Enrique got...
However, the arrival of Caitlin Clark has altered all of that. In only a few years, she has become not just the league's face, but also one of its most popular attractions. Clark has captivated basketball fans worldwide with her remarkable shooting range, ability to dominate the game, and ferocious competitive attitude. She is now the #1 player in the United States, a distinction that represents both her supremacy on and off the court.
I feel very lucky to be a part of this weekend, and I think Phoenix did a tremendous job of putting this weekend on. The fans were incredible. Obviously, the game was really good.
Caitlin Clark is not like any other player in the women's game. From the time she goes onto the court, it is evident that she boasts a distinct set of abilities that distinguishes her from her colleagues. Her shooting range is, without a doubt, the most impressive feature of her game. Clark can shoot from distances that most players would never contemplate, and she does it with incredible effectiveness. Her vast shooting range has been her hallmark, and it has changed what is possible in women's basketball.
All night tonight.
Are you talking about my high school experience?
Clark's game, however, includes more than simply long shots. What actually distinguishes her is the way she blends her shooting power with other abilities to create her a complete player.
She was absolutely right in saying that. We don't disagree, but that's utopia. Reality is it didn't happen to this level until Caitlin Clark showed up.
Her court vision is superb, enabling her to make precise passes and set up her teammates for scoring opportunities. She's also an excellent ball handler, capable of breaking down defenses with her dribble and generating chances for herself and others.
Here, Caitlin Clark just dancing with the basketball, going to her left.
Clark's game is reminiscent of several of the NBA's best players. Her shooting, passing, and ball handling abilities have earned her comparisons to NBA luminaries LeBron James, Jason Kidd, and Steve Nash. LeBron James is recognized for his flexibility and ability to dominate every facet of the game, and Clark has comparable characteristics. Despite being a guard, she has an outstanding ability to finish near the basket, similar to James.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to come in here and compete. We knew we needed to make the Olympic team, help them prepare for Paris, so that was our goal. We knew they were going to compete, so we competed too.
Her 62.7% shooting percentage from inside 5 feet of the basket is not only excellent, but also astounding, particularly for a player her stature. Her ability to score around the rim gives her continuous danger.
Yeah, she was huge. She never shies away from the moment. She made some huge shots for us, but she's just poised, very poised. You can see it in her face, like she wants to be in those moments, so I'm super proud of her.
Requiring defenses to keep a tight eye on her every move. Then there's the comparison to Jason Kidd, a player known for his rebounding and quick playmaking. Clark too excels in these fields. Her rebounding stats are excellent for a guard, and she's constantly eager to push the ball in transition, quickly converting defense into offense.
13,000 fans. Somebody else had 15. Everybody else had over 20,000 plus. You think that would happen if Caitlin Clark was on that team? You think that would happen if Angel Reese was on that team? But especially Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark is coming. Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better.
Her ability to manage the pace of the game makes her an invaluable asset to her squad. Finally, there's the comparison to Steve Nash and Steph Curry, two of NBA history's finest shooters. Clark, like Nash, has a creative side to her game, often finding ways to make tough shots seem simple. Like Curry, she possesses an almost effortless shooting technique that enables her to score from wherever on the floor.
It's going to be, hard to lose, so we're just trying to get her the ball. So, proud of us. It was a lot of fun, and I thought we played really hard.
It's no surprise surprised that fans and experts alike have made these parallels. Caitlin Clark seems to combine the greatest aspects of these NBA icons into a spectacular package. Caitlin Clark's effect.
3 for the Sparks, 0 for 9, and Caitlin Clark says
stretches much beyond her performances. She has become a sensation that is propelling the WNBA forward in terms of viewership and attendance. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, and it's being felt around the league.
Box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership.
When Clark is on the court, everyone pays attention. Her games generate a lot of interest both from those in the bleachers and those watching at home. The stats speak for themselves. Anytime Clark performs, attendance increases dramatically. For example, the Atlanta Dream just established a record for the largest attendance at a WNBA game in Georgia history, thanks in large part to the presence of Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect has become a formidable force in women's basketball, and other teams and players are eager to capitalize on it.
Got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level. So I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies around the rim, and so hopefully those fall in the fourth. But
this increasing interest has resulted in more games being aired nationally, providing the WNBA with a platform to reach a larger audience. Last year, the Indiana Fever had just one nationally broadcast game. This year, they had 36 of 40 games on national television. This demonstrates the WNBA's expanding popularity, with Caitlin Clark playing a significant role in that rise.
It would mean everything. That's like one of my dreams as a kid growing up. You always want to be an Olympic gold medalist.
Her presence on the court has made her a TV attraction, with millions tuning in to see her play.
Fans that love Caitlin's game, and Caitlin is having a phenomenal season, but what I want people to think about is
however, it is not only about TV ratings and attendance counts. The Caitlin Clark effect has had a direct influence on ticket sales and game advertising. When Clark is due to play, teams go all out to publicize the match. They make hype films, flood social media with postings, and even relocate games to bigger locations to meet greater demand.
she's always been a fan of mine, and I've always been a fan of hers, and she's just very down to earth, a great person. And
this proactive effort is paying off, as games starring Clark often sell out, leaving just standing room tickets available. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA cannot be emphasized.
I'm happy for her, and it was fun. Like, they tried to sub me in for her. I'm like, no, I'm staying on the bench. This is fun to watch.
She is not just an excellent player, but also a marketing sensation, and her influence is helping to propel the league to new heights. The WNBA is still expanding, and with athletes like Clark leading the way, its prospects are brighter than ever.
Now, me as a fan of Caitlin Clark, I would have loved to see her on this international stage, but I understand that Team USA constructs their roster not necessarily.
Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA extends beyond her marketability and the energy she brings to the game. She is also a great player, smashing records and establishing new standards for what is possible in the league.
Without all of you, so seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but
one of the most notable accomplishments in Clark's career so far has been establishing the rookie record for most assists in a season. With 9 assists in a recent game, she broke the old record and now has 232. This accomplishment is especially amazing, considering that Clark is just in her first season with the WNBA. Her ability to improve her teammates and generate scoring chances demonstrates her selflessness and in-depth grasp of the game.
we want to be back in the playoffs. That's been our goal since, the season started. We haven't been there since 2016, so.
Clark, however, is more than simply an assister. She is also on track to beat Alyssa Thomas' all-time WNBA assist record of 316, with 12 games remaining in the season.
We got to make a playoff push. We know our schedule is going to be difficult, and there's going to be teams fighting for.
Clark has a good chance of surpassing this number, establishing her position as one of the best playmakers in league history.
Thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here, and I've put on an Iowa jersey for 4 years, but like Coach Bluder and Kate said, there's still so much more fun to have, and we're not done.
In addition to her assist records, Clark has received attention for her scoring abilities. She has routinely been one of the league's top scorers, with some of the greatest shooting percentages in the WNBA. Her ability to score from any position on the floor, along with her efficiency, puts her a continuous danger to opposition defenses.
I think it's easy. These people are my best friends, and that's not for show. I seriously know, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back. And
Clark's accomplishments are great, but what makes them even more astounding is the circumstances in which they were accomplished. She is competing in a league that is more competitive than ever, with teams loaded with skill and coaches continuously developing new methods to slow her down.
It's going to give people an opportunity to see how good women's basketball is.
Despite these hurdles, Clark continues to compete at a very high level, and her records demonstrate her devotion, ability, and hard work. While Caitlin Clark's career has been full of plaudits and accomplishments, it has also been fraught with obstacles and scandals. Like any high-profile athlete, Clark has encountered criticism and struggle, and how she has handled these circumstances has only contributed to her fame.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID.
One of the most significant hurdles Clark has experienced is getting passed over for the U.S. national team. Despite her stellar success in the WNBA, she was not chosen to represent her country in international competition.
I have heard that rumor. I don't know the exact numbers, but I think they're selling pretty well.
Many fans and experts were surprised and disappointed by Clark's omission, believing that her skill and effect on the game made her an easy pick for the roster. Rather than becoming discouraged by this setback, Clark turned it into inspiration.
Obviously, my sophomore year, we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So
during a hiatus from the Olympic women's basketball squad, she rested and improved her skills. Since then, she has performed at an even better level, demonstrating that she is among the world's finest players. Her perseverance and tenacity in the face of hardship have endeared her to fans and made her a role model for young athletes worldwide.
But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
Clark has also been engaged in a few on-court disputes. In a recent game, she received a technical penalty for pounding the base of the hoop in desperation after a missed shot. The referee chastised her for disrespecting the game.
More than anything, like, they're my best friends off the court, and I think that's why we thrive on the court and have so much fun together. And more than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me.
But Clark claimed that her actions were motivated by her competitive personality and desire to do better. Surprisingly, she hailed the referee for the technical infraction, claiming that it inspired her to play harder and that her team improved as a result.
And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no woman, no matter how great you were as a player, Sheryl Swoopes, there is no woman who should negate mentioning Caitlin Clark and what Caitlin Clark is doing for the game. I know the Monica McNutts and others were getting very, very frustrated at all of the buzz that was going in her direction, not to hate on Caitlin Clark in any way, because I'm sure Monica McNutt does not feel that way. She just knows that there were people on the ground pounding the pavement that were doing so much for women's basketball.
This event demonstrates another part of Clark's personality, her boldness. She is open about her feelings on the court and pushes the limits to achieve wins.
No, Caitlin Clark. Respectfully, Sheryl Swoopes, you have any idea how that makes you?
While this has sometimes caused controversy, it has also made her one of the most captivating players to watch in the WNBA. Aside from the court, Clark has been outspoken about the WNBA's difficulties, notably in terms of pay. Like many other players in the league, she feels that WNBA compensation should be greater, particularly considering the league's expanding popularity and profitability. Clark has been a champion for WNBA players' improved wages and working conditions.
No, I mean, they're really good. They have plenty of talent on that team. It was the same, I think 4 years prior. I'm pretty sure the Team WNBA beat Team USA.
And her views on the subject have resonated with many fans and teammates. Caitlin Clark's impact extends beyond her on-court accomplishments. She is also making waves off the court, notably in sponsorships and marketing.
They were perfectly fine in the Olympics. I think if anything, it shows how good this league is. It shows how much talent is in this league and how you have to show up and prepare every single night.
Clark, one of the most recognizable women in the WNBA, has won many high-profile endorsement agreements, which have considerably increased her salary and visibility.
Down people's throats because she's a cash cow. Great, they're gonna market the hell out of this white chick. That's whatever she is. She puts the ball in the hole.
Clark's endorsement partnerships include a broad variety of items and businesses, including sports gear and consumer goods. Her popularity stems not just from her basketball skills, but also from her personality and ability to interact with people.
Caitlin Clark can ball. She should have been on Team USA because you needed the marketing buzz. I didn't say she was better than all 12 players that were on the team instead of her. Even though when they almost lost to France, I was getting nervous. Diana Taurasi wasn't on the court. I said, you need somebody that can shoot.
She is seen as a relatable person, one who is enthusiastic about her sport and committed to her art.
It's going to be really nice. I mean, I've loved competing every single second, but it's going to be a great month for my body to, you know.
This has made her a popular spokeswoman for brands trying to attract a younger, more diversified audience. Clark's endorsement earnings are one of the most profitable elements of her career. According to current predictions, she may make millions of dollars in sponsorships alone as her fame and marketability improve. This is a big achievement for the WNBA, since it demonstrates that players in the league can reach financial success comparable to those in other sports.
But this is a non-sport.
So you don't think she has, like, literally put life into WNBA? Yeah, we're talking about it right now, but I don't think she's going anywhere.
Clark's financial effect goes beyond her profits. Her participation in the league has boosted WNBA franchise values and increased total income. More fans are attending games, more merchandise is being sold, and more organizations are investing in the NBA, all of which can be traced back to the Caitlin Clark effect.
You a WNBA player? Caitlin Clark gonna get you paid. I'd figure out a way to be her friend. Or her friend of me. That's what Angel Reese has done.
Caitlin Clark's success in the sponsorship business bodes well for the WNBA's future. It demonstrates that the league's players can be more than simply athletes. They can be cultural icons and influential figures in sports and beyond.
You want to continue to get more of those players into this league because there's so many fans at the college level and continue to bring those fans here. So
as the WNBA grows, other players are sure to follow in Clark's footsteps, landing hefty contracts and helping to propel the league to new heights. Caitlin Clark's climb to the top of the WNBA has been nothing short of incredible.
I think people stepped up when their number was called and they were put into the game, and I thought we came out and started the second half well and really just found a way and dug deep and made plays when we needed to.
She has swiftly established herself as one of the most significant players in the game. Thanks to her unique skill set and effect on the league's popularity, her accomplishments on the court, along with her marketability off the court, have transformed her into a force to be reckoned with, and her future in the league seems to be very promising.
Messing with her, I always mess around with her, but then I told her, you know, that record's for you, but maybe we'll break it at one point. Who knows?
So while we celebrate Caitlin Clark being named the #1 player in the United States, let us also look forward to the many more triumphs that are likely to follow. The WNBA is on the rise, and with stars like Clark leading the way, the future of women's basketball has never looked better.
Yeah, that's just not a basketball play, but, you know, got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level, so I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies. Definitely, we're not coming here to just shoot around and, you know, waste time. Like, we're here to work and get better and compete hard, and our practice boys have done a great job, too.
Great for state champion in high school for golf.
She's just tremendous. She's really good, and sky's the limit for her. I think she's only going to get better and better, so I'm super proud of her.
Against her today.
I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game. And like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible.
Awesome, Caitlin. Congratulations. Thanks.
Did you know that Caitlin Clark has seized the limelight in women's basketball, putting luminaries like Sheryl Swoopes in the background? Yes, you heard it correctly. Caitlin Clark has become the buzz of the town, a household name, and the WNBA's brightest light. However, with that focus comes a barrage of criticism, and shockingly, some of the sharpest criticism has come from inside the same league she is revitalizing.
Here's Clark. Clark looking to take it around Lloyd. Clark bodies in and finishes.
Clark's contribution to the game is unquestionable. She's more than simply an excellent player. She's a game changer. She has been rewriting the record book since she first walked onto the court.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back, and they do a lot of dirty work for me to be able to have the fun and take crazy shots.
And this is not an exaggeration. Every time she plays, she has a high possibility of setting a new standard, breaking a record, and taking the game to new heights.
Thank you everyone for being here. Like I said, I expect these crowds forevermore, because this is just the beginning for women's basketball here in the state of Iowa. Give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that you've done.
However, her spectacular ascent has resulted in an equally intense surge of jealousy, and not only from her opponents. Surprisingly, some of this criticism has come from WNBA luminaries who, rather than recognizing Clark's accomplishments, seem to belittle them.
The people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously, I mean that, and I thank you.
One of the most outspoken detractors has been Sheryl Swoopes, a name associated with brilliance in women's basketball.
Yeah, that'll go in the record books as Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be, and I don't think it should be.
Swoopes is a legend in her own right, winning collegiate championships, Olympic gold medals, and WNBA crowns. Her legacy in the sport is safe, but her recent statements regarding Clark have generated more than a few questions.
So I waited until halftime of the All-Star game, and so I went over and, talked to him for a minute and introduced him.
Swoopes seems to have taken issue with Clark's attention and praises, and she hasn't been hesitant in expressing her opinions.
This isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time.
Swoopes made a bold comment, claiming that Angel Reese's game would be more suited to the WNBA than Clark.
And Angel Reese knows a ring is coming.
At the time, that was a reasonable perspective, particularly given Reese's tough style of play and defensive skill.
She had just made a shot or something. She came over to the bench and she just stood right in front of us and was just clapping at us, and we all, there was just a picture of us surrounding her.
But when Clark continued to dominate, Swoopes' words changed tone. She began to criticize Clark's game.
So I'm right-handed, but I love going left. I don't know how that makes sense, but I do. And everybody knew what my signature move was, but nobody could ever stop it.
Claiming that her NCAA points record was based on volume shooting rather than technique, Swoopes claimed that Clark was taking too many shots and that her success was based on number rather than quality.
Well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had.
Many members of the basketball community were offended by these remarks, and with good cause. Clark's accomplishments speak for themselves.
Tremendous. She just dominates. Honestly, we probably should have got her the ball a little bit more, but they play pretty much a front defense on her, but she's just tremendous. She's really good, and
she isn't simply piling up points, she's doing it effectively and in a manner that benefits her team. But Swoopes wasn't finished. Even after she apologized for her original remarks, she continued to attack Clark, both physically and metaphorically.
She's a senior, but I think her COVID year was last year.
Swoopes' criticism did not end with Clark's collegiate tenure. Swoopes continued to belittle Clark's accomplishments once she joined the WNBA. Despite the fact that Clark began to shatter records in the professional league, Clark has already broken many WNBA milestones, including the most consecutive point-assist double-doubles in a rookie season, the most double-doubles by a rookie guard, and the youngest player to achieve back-to-back double-doubles in points and assists. And that's just the beginning. She has also established multiple franchise records with the Indiana Fever, cementing her place in history in only one season.
Looking back over my 4 years is just, I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now
Caitlin Clark is the all-time, whatever it is. I don't even know what the number is, but that's the way it'll be, and I don't think it should be.
Swoopes has decided to dismiss these successes, instead focusing on other players such as Lexi Hull, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston. While these players have delivered outstanding performances, it's difficult to overlook the reality that Swoopes seems to be intentionally removing Clark from the discourse. This selective acknowledgement has not gone unnoticed, prompting conjecture that Swoopes may have a personal prejudice against Clark.
Those guys, I've just put my head down, I focus on the work. You start counting, then all of a sudden you start thinking about the inordinate amount of work that you're doing.
Stephen A. Smith, renowned for his strong beliefs, recently chose to weigh in on the issue. Smith chastised Swoopes for her biased viewpoints, noting that it's hard to discuss the Indiana Fever's recent success without mentioning Clark.
Everybody else had over 20,000 plus. You think that would happen if Caitlin Clark was on that team?
He chastised Swoopes for failing to give Clark the recognition she deserves, particularly given Clark's significant contribution to the team's improvement in the rankings.
In regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes herself. She recently spoke on her podcast, Queens of the Court.
Smith didn't mince words, emphasizing how Clark has not only led the Fever, but also established attendance and viewership records. Clark's games had the greatest attendance and TV ratings. Despite this, Swoopes continues to minimize her significance, focusing instead on other players.
To me, like, I sat there and I feel very proud of what I've done, what I've accomplished, and I look at all the women who came before me, those who will come after me.
This has sparked a bigger discussion about why Swoopes, and maybe others in the league, seem to be disparaging Clark's achievements. Is it jealousy? Is there a reluctance to give the torch to the next generation? Whatever the cause, it's evident that this is more than simply a disagreement of opinion.
No, Caitlin Clark. Sheryl Swoopes. No, Caitlin Clark.
Swoopes' failure to appreciate Clark's achievements is especially perplexing considering her own playing experience. Swoopes understands better than anybody how difficult it is to accomplish at the greatest level, yet she seems hesitant to give Clark her due. Many have questioned if Swoopes is allowing her sentiments to interfere with her analytical process. Swoopes, a sports great, would go out of her way to belittle Clark's accomplishments, which is not only shocking but disheartening. It sends the incorrect message to new players and spectators, implying that even if you reach greatness, you may be forgotten or rejected by those who came before you.
Respectfully, Sheryl Swoopes, you have any idea how that makes you look? You have any idea how that serves to stain?
But if Swoopes felt her remarks would go unchecked, she was mistaken. Smith's critique of her biased viewpoints has pushed this problem to the forefront, prompting a discussion about how we recognize and reward achievement in women's sports. Smith emphasized that it is completely okay to criticize a player, especially a superstar like Clark. After all, nobody is flawless, and constructive criticism is a necessary part of the game. However, when such critique becomes biased or unjust, it loses its credibility. Smith also reminded everyone of Clark's amazing achievements on and off the court. She's more than simply a player. She's a brand, a representation of what is possible in women's sports. Her effect extends beyond winning games. She is altering the way the WNBA handles business, recruiting new fans, and giving the league more exposure than ever before.
Clark trying to shake Wickham. Step back is good in the mid-range.
It's also worth noting that Clark's path has been challenging. She needed an easier adjustment into the WNBA. Despite her accomplishments in college, she experienced a steep learning curve when she entered the working world. In her first game, she established an ugly record by committing 10 turnovers, the most in WNBA history. The Fever's defeats also piled up swiftly, raising questions about Clark's ability to live up to the promise. Clark, however, did not allow her early challenges to define her. Instead, she used them as an incentive to improve. She worked really hard to develop her game, and the results speak for themselves. Since returning from the Olympic break, the Fever has gone on a 2-game winning streak over difficult opponents like the Phoenix Mercury and the Seattle Storm. Clark shattered several club and league records during those games, solidifying her standing as one of the league's top players. Clark needed just 2 assists against the Seattle Storm to break the WNBA record for most assists by a rookie, which had stood for 26 years. She completed this feat before halftime, securing yet another record. Her performance confirmed her skill and promise as one of the league's all-time greats.
The lead. Look at a shake Horston. Clark sings a pass. Hull on the wing. Connects.
Despite this, Swoopes continues to minimize Clark's significance, focusing on other players and even mentioning guys from losing teams. Swoopes seemed to be going out of her way to avoid admitting what everyone else already knows. Caitlin Clark is the genuine thing. This has resulted in a developing notion that some media members and former players are attempting to diminish Clark's successes. This tendency, whether motivated by envy, fear of being overshadowed, or just a reluctance to accept the new generation, is disturbing. It conveys the concept that no matter how much you accomplish, there will always be others who want to bring you down, but Clark refuses to let the critics get to her. She's accustomed to receiving criticism and has often shown her ability to rise above it. In fact, she uses it as motivation to continue pushing herself to new heights. Clark understands that each time she gets onto the court, she has the potential to quiet her naysayers and prove them wrong, and this is precisely what she has been doing. It's also worth mentioning that Clark's influence extends beyond her on-court performances. She's become a role model for young athletes, demonstrating what's achievable through hard work and commitment. Her fame has attracted new fans to the WNBA, and she is helping to raise the whole league. This is something to be appreciated, not dismissed. Clark?
On women's sports in general, but you're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all...
As Smith pointed out, is a game changer, not simply a player. She's lifting her colleagues, attracting new viewers, and advancing the sport of women's basketball. While some may attempt to downplay her achievements, there's no doubting her effect on the sport.
Look at his Shenton and Smith. Clark lobbing it in. Boston draws two in the corner. Oh, you bet!
So what comes next for Caitlin Clark? If her track record is any indication, she's just getting started. Clark has accomplished so much in such a short period, yet she still has lots of potential to develop and improve. She has shown the skill, work ethic, and dedication to become one of the greatest players in women's basketball history. Chennedy Carter is noted for her no-nonsense approach and unwavering will to achieve the greatest. Carter was not thrilled when ESPN's newest rankings put Caitlin Clark ahead of her. To understand why Carter reacted so emotionally, we need to look at what these rankings represent for a player of her quality. Carter saw being rated lower than Clark as a personal attack rather than a professional one.
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions. Did she say anything? I don't know what she said.
The ESPN rankings are regarded as a measure of a player's position in the WNBA and the larger basketball world. Carter, who has always taken pleasure in her hard work and skill, felt as if she had been placed lower than a younger, less experienced athlete. Carter has always thought that her influence on the court speaks for itself, so seeing someone else ranked ahead of her, especially someone she feels hasn't encountered the same level of competition or adversity, set off an emotional response. Carter was forthright on social media. In a series of postings that immediately became viral, she voiced her amazement, irritation, and outrage. Her postings were more than just about the ranking. They were a larger criticism of what she sees as prejudice in the sports media. Carter believes that the media often misses her successes in favor of tales that do not accurately portray events on the court.
Doubled off to Carter. Her jumper is good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
Consistency was crucial to Carter's argument. She noted that although Clark has given some outstanding performances, she has also suffered substantially at times. Carter, on the other hand, views herself as someone who has consistently provided high-level performances in all settings. To her, the rating damaged not just her, but also the notion of meritocracy in athletics. Carter's response was not only about her standing, she regarded it as part of a bigger trend of disrespect toward older WNBA players. According to her, the league and its media partners often promote fresh faces and developing stars over longtime players. Carter has long been disturbed by this apparent lack of respect, and the ESPN rankings were just the boiling point. Caitlin Clark's debut in the WNBA was one of the most anticipated in recent memory. Clark was supposed to make an easy transition into the professional ranks after a brilliant collegiate career in which she outperformed her competitors. However, the truth has been far more complicated.
I think just staying confident and staying aggressive, that's what I tell myself, but I thought they played really good defense to start on us, and then when we kind of got into a flow and played a little bit more in transition, we were a lot.
Clark's WNBA debut was a microcosm of the difficulties she would experience throughout her first season. She scored 20 points in her debut game, which is a respectable total for any athlete, much alone a rookie. However, her performance was overshadowed by her 10 turnovers, the most ever by a player making their WNBA debut. This figure was a clear indication that the transition from college to professional would be more difficult than many had expected. The WNBA is a beast that is different from NCAA basketball. The speed is quicker, the players are stronger, and the defenses are more advanced. Clark, who had grown used to being the main point of her team's attack in college, found this a big adjustment. She couldn't depend just on her natural skill. She needed to learn how to play in a system where everyone on the court could take over a game. Clark's toughest problem has been dealing with the toughness of the WNBA. In college, she often had a physical edge over her opponents, which allowed her to drive to the basket and finish via contact. However, in the WNBA, she faced defenders who who were at least as powerful as she was. This resulted in some difficult lessons early on, as she struggled to complete pieces that would have been simple for her in college. Clark's shot has also been erratic. While she has caught fire from beyond the arc in games, she has also been unable to purchase a bucket on certain occasions. Clark and her coaches have been frustrated by her inconsistency since they know she is capable of much more. Her troubles have been exacerbated by rival teams' focus on her as a main scoring threat, often sending double teams her way or assigning their best defender to her. Clark's decision-making abilities have also been called into question. In college, she was allowed to experiment and make high-risk, high-reward moves. In the WNBA, these identical plays often result in turnovers or poor shots. Clark has had to learn how to select her places and make better judgments with the ball, which has been an ongoing process throughout her first season. Clark has been under great strain. She came into the league with huge expectations and every performance was evaluated. While some rookies are allowed time to learn and make errors, Clark has been expected to perform from the start. This strain has definitely contributed to some of her difficulties as she attempts to live up to the great expectations placed upon her. Chennedy Carter has never shied away from a challenge, and her fiery attitude has led to both success and controversy throughout her career. While her ability on the court is evident, her off-court conduct has often made headlines for the wrong reasons. Carter's off-court conduct has also been a point of contention. She has had public disagreements with teammates and coaches, resulting in bans and trades that have jeopardized her career. One of the most famous occurrences came when she was with the Atlanta Dream and was suspended indefinitely for behavior detrimental to the team. According to reports, the incident started with an argument on the bench that quickly escalated into a near physical brawl. This resulted in her eventual trade to the Los Angeles Sparks, where she intended to start anew.
Sometimes we missed a couple blockouts and missed some little things, little chippy things, loose balls. So I think that if we can just capitalize on that, run our stuff, and play defense, we'll be.
Carter's stint with the Sparks was not without its obstacles. Despite exhibiting glimpses of skill on the court, she failed to adapt to the team's scheme and was benched for bad behavior. This resulted in her departure from the club, forcing her to play a season abroad before returning to the WNBA. Carter's antics often obscured her amazing abilities. At her peak, she was one of the league's most electric players, capable of dominating a game with her scoring and playmaking talents. However, her reputation as a volatile player has made it difficult for her to establish consistency in her career. Coaches are generally wary of giving her a lengthy leash since they know her fury might flare up at any time and disrupt the team's cohesion.
Offensive rebound, Savali, and she's pretty tied up by Carter.
Many saw Carter's response to the ESPN rankings as just another illustration of her fiery disposition. However, her fans saw it as a reasonable reaction to what they saw as a regular pattern of media mistreatment. They believe that Carter has every right to be unhappy, considering her record of achievement and the challenges she has faced throughout her career. In a league as cutthroat as the WNBA, mental toughness is as vital as athletic talent. Players are continuously pushed to perform, not just by their coaches and teammates, but also by the media and spectators. This strain may be intense, particularly for younger players or those yet to establish themselves in the league. Caitlin Clark's troubles during her debut season demonstrate how the mental element of the game may influence performance. Clark, who entered the league with tremendous expectations, was under enormous pressure to live up to them. Every error was studied, and every bad performance was thoroughly investigated. This type of attention may be very tough for any player to endure, much like a rookie who is still getting used to the professional game.
Shelley almost got to steal. How about Clark?
Clark's ability to overcome her early troubles will be critical to her future in the league. Mental toughness is more than simply managing pressure. It is also about learning from errors, keeping focused, and not allowing criticism to undermine your confidence. If Clark can develop this mental resilience, she has the potential to be one of the best players in the WNBA. Chennedy Carter considers mental toughness to be both a strength and a struggle. On the one hand, her competitive nature and inability to let up have made her one of the league's most feared players. She thrives in high-pressure circumstances, typically delivering her finest performances when the stakes are highest. However, that same passion may work against her, resulting in emotional outbursts and disputes that have sometimes destroyed her career.
To be back in the WNBA, I think that Saturday I'm going to play with more energy, more tempo, and I'm for sure going to do a lot better.
Fans, commentators, and the media will keep a close eye on Chennedy Carter and Caitlin Clark as they progress in their WNBA careers. Both players have the potential to be among the league's greatest, but their paths will be determined by how they manage the next hurdles. Clark's future is also promising, but she must continue to improve her game and adapt to the demands of the professional level. Her potential is apparent, but the adjustment from college to the WNBA has shown that she still has room for improvement. If she continues to develop and learn from her experiences, she has the potential to become one of the league's best players. Both athletes have endured hurdles, but they can overcome them and succeed in the WNBA. How they react to these obstacles and continue to grow as athletes and individuals will influence their careers. The competition between Carter and Clark, whether genuine or perceived, will be one of the most intriguing themes to watch in the coming years. Both players are tremendously competitive and each has something to show. As they continue to build and perfect their games, it will be intriguing to observe how their paths cross and how they inspire one another to new heights. The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game, but lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. Aja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as Aja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why Aja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why Aja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, Aja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Austin gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as Aja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
Aja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from.
But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Fans and observers cited Clark's domination on the court, ability to lead the Indiana Fever to the playoffs, and record-breaking statistics as reasons why she should be chosen MVP. Many people, including Aja Wilson, were outraged by Caitlin Clark's exclusion from the MVP competition. But what actually transpired that prompted Wilson's public outburst?
She's pretty incredible. I mean, you watch her and it's unguardable. There's nothing anybody can do to stop it. Like, she's just that dominant, whether it's her mid-range game.
Just 2 minutes earlier, Aja Wilson resorted to social media to express her displeasure, and it was not nice. In a series of angry tweets, Wilson lashed out at the WNBA, calling Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection absurd and a complete joke. She expressed surprise that someone of Clark's caliber could be left out of the MVP race, particularly given her effect on the league this season.
By any means necessary, KP's going to do it on both sides of the basketball, and she's one of the most hardworking players I've ever seen play the game of basketball. She's always in the gym. Like when they say first one in.
Wilson did not hold back. In one of her postings, she said, "I can't believe we're out here pretending Caitlin Clark didn't just change the game for the WNBA. How will you ignore that? This league is sleeping on the future, which is disgusting." Her response was quick and strong, sparking a blaze of debate among fans and teammates. The Twitter storm was just the beginning. Wilson's words grabbed the attention of media outlets and sports commentators who jumped right on the topic. Wilson was clearly furious, not just about the rejection, but also about what it meant for the WNBA. To her, the league's inability to recognize Clark's genius seemed like a step backward in terms of advancing the game and promoting fresh talent.
It's time for WNBA Today because we have a big game tonight. Two of the most prolific #1 overall picks in WNBA history. They go head to head as Caitlin Clark and the Fever host Aja Wilson and the defending champion Aces. Now, Aja has dominated in their matchups, winning both meetings so far, but we know that Caitlin has just been a revelation in her rookie season, and Clark was asked about the challenges that come with facing Aja Wilson.
As soon as Aja Wilson's words reached social media, replies poured in from all over the internet. Fans of both Wilson and Clark were quick to respond, with many repeating Wilson's comments. The hashtag Caitlin Clark for MVP started trending on Twitter, with supporters urging the WNBA to rethink its MVP selection. Even players from around the league joined in. Several renowned WNBA players tweeted in favor of Aja Wilson's outburst, stating that Caitlin Clark's absence from the MVP contest was unjust. Kelsey Mitchell, Clark's Indiana Fever teammate, tweeted, "I've been saying this. Caitlin has been on fire all season. How is she not in the MVP conversation?"
Two-time WNBA MVP Aja Wilson joined us here on SportsCenter. Aja, I hope you could hear some of the stats we were just throwing at the audience coming off that game. You guys started 5-5 in the season, but you've won 5 straight now. What do you attribute to this recent run of success?
I mean, just trusting the process, but also our defensive end. I think we really settled down on the defensive end, and that's where we can really play our basketball. But sometimes you got to trust the process. Adversity hit us a little early, but I'm glad it did, so we can learn how to grind out wins because this league is way too good. So we're slowly getting back to Aces basketball in our system, and I'm feeling like we're at the right time of our season right now.
28 points, 9 rebounds for you, season high 34 for Kelsey Plum. She was reluctant to talk too much about herself a few moments ago with Angel Gray. What do you say about Kelsey Plum as it relates to doing what is necessary to win a game?
By any means necessary, KP's going to do it on both sides of the basketball, and she's one of the most hardworking players I've ever seen play the game of basketball. She's always in the gym. Like when they say first one in, last one to leave, that is.
On the other side, other fans believe Wilson's reaction was disrespectful and unwarranted. Critics claim that Wilson should concentrate on her performance and let the MVP process unfold. Nonetheless, the vast majority of fans seem to agree with Wilson, claiming that Clark's rejection was one of the most contentious in recent WNBA history.
So here is the scouting report from Caitlin Clark. I mean, look at those words. Mid-range game. She can put it on the floor. Defensive player, unguardable. We are witnessing the greatest scoring.
As the uproar over her MVP snub heated up, all eyes shifted to Caitlin Clark herself. Fans and media outlets were curious how the emerging celebrity would react to the outpouring of support from A'ja Wilson and others. However, Caitlin Clark has yet to comment on the topic. Clark's choice to remain silent might be strategic. Clark, known for her professionalism and maturity both on and off the court, may choose to let her game speak for itself rather than become involved in the continuing turmoil. Nonetheless, her silence has not prevented admirers from guessing her true feelings about the MVP snub.
The only reason that I brought up the first part about Angel Reese is this. Caitlin Clark is box office. She is a star. And Angel Reese is to be completely believed that there's no hate. They both get along. They're cool with each other. They're high-end competitors, etc., etc. But you've known they were coming for you when you were waving your hands in your face to mock Caitlin Clark when you were beating her for the national championship. And you also are old enough to know that in this society, whether they want to admit it or not,
some anticipate Clark will ultimately issue a statement or discuss the subject in a post-game interview. Others believe she prefers to concentrate on her next game and is keen to prove the critics wrong with her performance on the court. Whatever her answer, one thing is certain. Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has become the talk of the league.
With A'ja Wilson, who is having career highs across the board. And there are 3 ways that make A'ja Wilson great, and I'll show you exactly as we take it to the court, starting with her.
To properly comprehend the intensity of A'ja Wilson's response, you must first understand the importance of the MVP award in the WNBA. The MVP award is more than simply individual honors. It reflects a player's effect on their club and the league as a whole. For many players, receiving the MVP award represents the pinnacle of their hard work, devotion, and contributions to the game.
A'ja Wilson with Wilson mid-range where she's 2 for 2.
For A'ja Wilson, who has won the honor twice, the MVP title means much more. Wilson understands what it takes to be an MVP and is grateful for the honor. This is likely contributing to her displeasure at Caitlin Clark's omission from the MVP contest, as she believes Clark deserves equal praise for her game-changing performance. Furthermore, the MVP award has the potential to shape a player's legacy. Winning the MVP not only secures a player's place in history, but also opens the door to sponsorships, media, opportunities, and future success in their career. For a rookie like Caitlin Clark, earning MVP in her first season would have been a huge accomplishment, perhaps propelling her career to even higher heights.
3 closeouts each possession, and if you do that, you're probably going to have a team in rotation, and you're probably going to have some mismatches.
Clark step back 3.
Another issue contributing to the MVP dispute is the media's involvement in framing the narrative. Sports media has an important role in promoting player achievements, changing public opinion, and eventually influencing awards such as MVP. Throughout the season, the media concentrated on established players like A'ja Wilson and Breanna Stewart, while Caitlin Clark, despite her amazing season, received less national recognition. This media prejudice may have contributed to Clark's MVP snub. As Wilson pointed out in her outburst, the league and its media partners may be sleeping on the future, failing to identify the next generation of potential. The WNBA is at a crucial point, and Caitlin Clark represents the league's future. Ignoring her in the MVP debate sends the wrong message to fans and aspiring athletes who look up to Clark as a role model.
When you're talking about Caitlin, I think there's no denying her ability to influence your offense, right? When you think about different players, you think about, oh, they can really score the ball, they can really push the ball in transition.
A'ja Wilson's response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection underlines her status as a WNBA leader. During her career, Wilson has utilized her position to advocate for topics that are important to her, like social, justice, and improved compensation and recognition for WNBA players. Wilson's current outburst is just another example of her sticking up for what she feels to be right. Wilson's leadership goes beyond her team and performance. By openly criticizing the WNBA's MVP selection, she advocates for justice and pushes the league to develop. Her willingness to speak up, even at the risk of causing controversy, demonstrates her commitment to the future of the WNBA and her desire to see players like Caitlin Clark get the credit they deserve.
She's been hot, shooting 43% during that time from the 3-point line.
Wilson all mid-range and all day.
With the debate in full swing, the major question is, how will the WNBA react? The league has yet to release a formal comment on Caitlin Clark's MVP snub or A'ja Wilson's angry response. However, considering the severity of the debate and the broad attention it has received, the WNBA may feel pressured to address the issue. The league might react in many ways. It may address the criticism and explain the MVP selection process, or it could sit mute and let the topic flow naturally. In any case, the league must tread cautiously since this issue has the potential to influence public opinion of the MVP award and the WNBA's dedication to developing new talent.
We do that in the WNBA.
As the MVP debate continues, both Caitlin Clark and A'ja Wilson will surely be in the limelight. Clark's MVP disappointment might inspire her future performances. She's already established herself to be a powerhouse on the court, and this recent development may encourage her to climb even higher in her career. This event demonstrates A'ja Wilson's leadership and enthusiasm for the game. While her reaction was dramatic, it also demonstrates how much she cares about the league's future and the recognition of good players. Wilson's willingness to stand up for Caitlin Clark might cement her place as one of the WNBA's most important leaders, both on and off the field.
Some people didn't expect her to be as good as she was early. I did. I thought she would be.
To summarize, A'ja Wilson's emotional response to Caitlin Clark's MVP rejection has sparked a discourse about more than just one prize. It's a conversation about the WNBA's future, how to recognize emerging talent, and how leadership shapes the league. As we wait to see how the WNBA reacts, one thing is certain: this will be recognized as a watershed event in the league's history. Caitlin Clark's influence on the WNBA is evident, and although she may have been overlooked this season, her future is very promising. A'ja Wilson's strong enthusiasm continues to drive the discourse, and her leadership on and off the court establishes her as a real legend in the sport.
McVinlay, handoff Clark, launches and hits him.
Stay tuned for further updates on this developing topic, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe for the most up-to-date sports news.
You know, this is a dream. This is something I wrote down on a piece of paper when I was in like second grade. Like, get a basketball scholarship, play in the WNBA. Like, this is always something I wanted to do.
The WNBA has long been a hotbed of competitive energy, including some of the world's most gifted athletes, some like Caitlin Clark, whose rapid ascent has created an undertone of dissatisfaction. Also, Teresa Weatherspoon, the Chicago Sky's head coach.
You have to ask yourself that every single day that you live this life. Are you impacting the lives of other people? So I'm praying that the position that I hold tells people.
Recently made headlines at a news conference for what many are calling an unusual outburst, as well as her team's performance. The seasoned coach, renowned for her calm demeanor and great knowledge, surprised everyone when she refused to address questions regarding Clark in the Indiana Fever.
Keep moving! Keep moving! There we go!
How have you liked your attack on the offensive end, Spoon?
This event has caused significant conjecture and debate in the basketball world, prompting many to wonder, what is it about Caitlin Clark that is shaking up the WNBA so dramatically? In this video, we'll examine the controversy surrounding Teresa Weatherspoon's response and how Clark's presence in the league has changed the dynamics on the court, while also ruffling the feathers of established players and coaches.
Honestly, I think setting my teammates up, I think that just like provides so much more energy to the team. It gets everybody going, and when everybody can like touch the ball and, you know, get going in that way, I think it just, you know, everybody just flows a little bit better. The offense flows a little bit better. But that's something I take a lot of pride in. At times I think I can try to like overpass and probably could be a little more aggressive to the basket. But yeah, I think with the weapons that we have on our team.
We'll also investigate why Clark's influence on the WNBA is becoming a double-edged sword, bringing both unprecedented attention and great pressure on the league.
Yeah, I think we responded well after we had to use that timeout early in the third.
To comprehend the full scope of the present conflict, you must first understand why Caitlin Clark is generating such a stir in the WNBA.
I think turnovers are costing us a little bit. If we can take care of the ball a little bit better, we'll be in a better position, but I thought we did better on the O boards.
Clark's performance on the professional stage has been nothing short of remarkable. She is not just playing the game, she is rewriting the rules and establishing new standards.
But they go in. Not only do they go in consistently
And the way she plays the game, she's the true definition of a great player.
Clark made it evident right away that she wasn't your typical rookie. Her performances have repeatedly been jaw-dropping, and her statistics prove it. Clark, who averages 22.6 points.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds. The curtains were down a lot of the games, and now
7.8 assists and 5.4 rebounds per game, and has a 34.6% three-point shooting percentage, is not only making an impact,
slowly developing and getting better and better. And yeah, I think we're just, learning as time goes and each game goes, like we're just getting better and better.
You've had an absolutely whirlwind first half of your rookie campaign. I want to ask you how much you're looking forward to this break, right, coming up.
but also creating history. These statistics are astonishing for any athlete, much alone a rookie. It's a little surprising that she's immediately been the focus of talks about the WNBA's future.
Well, she's definitely taken that golden advice, recently being the first WNBA player that has recorded consecutive 20-plus point rebound games.
However, Clark's effect extends beyond her statistics. Her impact on the Indiana Fever has been nothing short of transformational. Last season, the Fever finished with a 13-27 record, making them one of the league's worst teams.
This is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
However, with Clark at the helm, the Fever have made a stunning turnaround. They're no longer the league's punching bag.
I think it's easy. Like, these people are my best friends, and like, that's not for show. Like, I seriously know, like, I'm not me without all of them, and they've had my back. And
instead, they're vying for a postseason place after already exceeding last year's victory total. Clark seemed to have revitalized the whole squad, transforming them into a formidable force.
Yeah, they've both been tremendous. I thought they played great defense. They've made great decisions out of the pick and roll or pick and pop. We got to keep going to them. All right, thanks. Thank you.
The Fever's comeback hasn't gone unnoticed. They're playing entertaining, competitive basketball, and fans are paying attention. Clark's arrival has revitalized the squad.
More than anything, I know these girls are going to be my best friends for the rest of my life, and really that's all that matters to me. I don't really care if we win another game. It's just having these people in my life for forever.
Resulting in an inevitable increase in expectations. However, although the Fever's success story is one of the most thrilling events in recent WNBA history.
Yeah, that's just not a basketball play, but got to play through it. That's what basketball's about at this level. So I thought we've been really physical. We've missed some bunnies around the rim, and so hopefully those fall in the fourth, but really proud of our team.
It has also resulted in a slew of unexpected repercussions. With tremendous success comes considerable attention, not all of which is beneficial.
Caitlin Clark's name out of that soliloquy that you dropped about the Indiana Fever. Stop it. You know that. Stop it.
As Clark's fame continues to grow, so does the hostility she seems to be instilling in her opponents.
Stephen A., I'm talking to you, Stephen A., if you had promoted the WNBA more, if you had talked about it more, they would have played more games. Like I had the power to go up to ESPN and say, directors and producers and cameramen and everybody else flock to the WNBA. At the time,
the WNBA has always had its fair share of rivalries and competitive edge, but what we're seeing now with Clark and the Indiana Fever is something new, more fierce.
People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas, just because of one single game. And just looking at that,
one of the most striking evidence of this growing hatred came in a recent game versus the Connecticut Sun. During the match, Alyssa Thomas committed a hard foul on Clark, which many fans and experts deemed unwarranted and unnecessarily violent. The foul was largely viewed as a direct message. Welcome to the WNBA, rookie. It was a sharp reminder that despite her outstanding accomplishments, Clark is still seen as an outsider by some of the league's veterans. However, the situation with Thomas is not uncommon. In many games, Clark has faced more physical and aggressive defense.
Give it up for these women, these incredible seniors, and thank you for all that
you've done. Opposing teams seem eager to go to any length to control her, even crossing the line into unsportsmanlike behavior. This kind of approach demonstrates Clark's impact. Teams are starting to regard her as more than simply a brilliant player, but also a real danger to their success.
honestly, I'll take that because look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball.
Clark's resilience, however, is her most outstanding quality. Despite the increasing aggressiveness and efforts to knock her off her game, she stays undeterred. She continues to play her signature style of basketball, making impossible passes, scoring long-range shots, and leading her team with grace and confidence. Clark isn't simply surviving the hardships she faces, she's flourishing in them. Given the background of escalating tensions, it's no wonder that emotions are high around the league. However, Teresa Weatherspoon's reply at a recent news appearance surprised many. Weatherspoon, a renowned figure in women's basketball, is noted for her wide knowledge and level-headed approach to the game.
I'm pretty sure I'll be in a three-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out. So, but also like, the roster that we have in the three-point competition is incredible. You look at their percentages, they're all 40% three-point shooters. Like, they're shooting better percentage-wise than I am, so they all deserve it.